I am so excited to be joined by Mark and Pete from Clockwork Marketing, who are delivering the final episode or webinar in our series. It's been a really interesting series spanning all the different components of succeeding in digital for hotels, and the final one in our series is focused on SEO. And before I hand over to them, as is customary with these introductions, just a bit of an update from the Hotel Marketing Association. We've got two really exciting events coming up. Our first in-person event for a while, which is great. We've obviously been hitting the webinars very hard, but this one is going to be in person on the 19th of March at Hart Shoreditch in East London. It's going to be an event, a panel discussion with industry experts from sort of spanning Google, TikTok, and across the hospitality industry as well. And it's going to be the whole purpose of that panel is to really unpack how to succeed with video in your marketing. So it'll be a varied event with panel discussion, Q&A, drinks reception, and a great opportunity to meet with the hotel marketing community, share ideas, hopefully learn a lot. I'm sure there's some amazing panelists there. So do go and check that out. It's on the Hotel Marketing Association website under events. I think the link is being shared. If not, has been shared. Yeah, has been shared. Thank you very much. And the next one, only 2 days later. So just as you've recovered from that one, we have a really exciting webinar with Amadeus, who are going to be sharing some insights from their global, their huge network of hospitality businesses, and looking at the booking trends and insights that are ultimately going to guide our strategies over 2024. So please do head over to that link, get yourself signed up. They both promise to be really insightful events, and hopefully I'm sure you'll have get a lot of value from it. So with my customary HMA piece out the way, I'm going to pass over to Pete from Clockwork, who's going to take us through this exciting webinar.
Thank you, Harry. And many thanks to everyone for joining us today. Do introduce yourselves in the chat. My name is Pete at Clockwork Marketing. You'll meet Mark shortly. And put any questions in as they come to your head, and we'll try and come back to those at the end of the webinar. So 94% of the UK use Google as their search engine. That's pretty huge. That's like 63 million. We are very Google addicts in the UK. It's one of the highest percentages, across the world, really. Other countries use it far less, but in the UK, it is the go-to. So for the next hour, and to help you get the most value from this session and to help you focus, you can switch off your notifications and put your phone on silent. After today, we'll hope you'll end up knowing how to create highly, just the right content and optimization on your website to increase your Google search. So through Clockwork Marketing's community, we help build confidence to enable people to deliver great results.
Brilliant, fantastic. Great to see so many people on the call this morning. My name is Mark, and I head up the learning community, helping businesses like yourselves to shine and do well on their marketing. For those that have been on all of our series so far and other webinars that we've done, you'll know we like to do a game of word association just to kick off, to get us using the chat to start to think about relevant words maybe that might lead towards how we might think about approaching Google search and the wider sort of thing there. So the first word that I'm going to say, if you can put your answers into the chat, hopefully that's all working. If I say the word afternoon tea, what comes to mind? What other word do you think of when I say afternoon tea? Cake, scones. Oh, lovely. It's that sort of coming up to that time where hopefully the weather's just getting a little bit warmer. You can sit outside and have a nice cream tea. There you go. Ken's got it. Mother's Day. It's this weekend, isn't it? Mother's Day. Clotted cream experience. Lovely. Fantastic, brilliant. All these brilliant answers, which make us think about the perspectives maybe that customers would think about too when searching for afternoon tea. Brilliant. So the next word is spring. What comes to mind when we think of spring, as in the season spring, not the squishy, bouncy thing, spring? Perhaps that does come to mind. We've got some daffodils. They're all coming out, the daffodils. New menus, flowers, bluebells. We all like the flowers and the lambs that are gambling and the bright colours, the outdoor, yeah, all the greens coming out now, starting all the rainfall that we've had has hopefully made everything come out green. Sun, sunny days. I think spring and summer are my favourite months. I do like spring. Fantastic. Right, okay, final word for our association, Google. What do you think of with Google? I'm hoping a lot of you are on the chat today, because Google is just a constant area of challenge, or an area of trying to master it. Search platform, search. Yeah, Harry's gone. It's everywhere. Source of information and help, complicated. Brilliant, great. I love, yeah, these are so great. Mafia. Brilliant, James. I like that one. Right, okay, fantastic. So hopefully all of that has just been really helpful, just to sort of associate some words maybe within the hospitality space that we think about coming up soon, and also Google in general. Final question, just to find out from you, is this: where was the last place that you booked to stay? And most importantly, how did you search for it? How did you search for it? What did you search for? A particular key phrase, use certain words? Was it in the search engine part, or was it in the maps part, the images part? Was it you searched for it on your browser and then it just came up at a directory site, or was it direct onto a website? Be good to know. The last place you booked, it was a Google search. Booking.com. Some people went straight onto Booking.com and Airbnb. Browser, Google Maps. Lucy's gone straight into Google Maps. It's great. Harry as well, Google Maps. OTAs, using OTAs to search. Canopy and Stars, straight on the app as well. We've got some there, searching Google. Specifically, Jessica searched hotels near Albert Hall. That's quite an interesting one. Pete's done a search. He searched on brand name. Maps is coming up quite a lot. Direct, research, TripAdvisor, TikTok. Brilliant, fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. It's good to see how you interact with Google in that way. Starting to understand how you might interact with it could influence, or just give you that perspective of how your potential guests could be interacting with Google as well. So a little introduction. Clockwork Marketing, we've been hospitality marketing specialists. We've been doing it for about 30 years now, taking a lot of our experience, insights with us, helping specifically to help improve direct bookings. But we're sort of running these webinars to share that knowledge that we have, share our tips and skills and practical advice, so that you can benefit as well. So if you are on the call today, I'm hoping the topic has maybe piqued an interest for you, and all of these things might be relevant in terms of boosting your revenue, more direct bookings, more guests. I'm hoping a lot of you on the call are wanting those things, wanting a clear direction, how you can use Google to your advantage. And so we're going to dive into some tips and thoughts and ideas. Now, Google is such a massive topic that, we could be here all day talking about it. So we're just talking about the bits that we find, that make the difference, that are really relevant and that you can take away from today. So let's jump into that content now, and pass you back over to Pete.
Yeah, so through this series, we've been looking at this book direct strategy funnel. And we looked at marketing and websites and booking engines a little bit. Today, we're going to go back to the top of the funnel, because that's where Google search comes in, driving traffic to your website. And we're also going to look at some new announcements that just came out yesterday as well. So this is like bang up to date, this presentation. So we only work with hotels and hospitalities, and we can do a lot of benchmarking internally. And we see across our clients, Google search drives most website traffic and most direct bookings to our clients. It's just by far the biggest and by far the most important channel to focus on. But in many ways, it's also pretty hard. It's constantly changing, many moving parts, and it's highly technical. So, you know, it's completely fine to hold up your hands. So it's quite challenging. Not for Mark, it is for me, but hopefully we'll try and demystify some of it. So the first step is to find the right keywords for your business. The keywords are the terms that people type into Google to find an answer. And here is our copyrighted Keywordosaurus, which we completely made up. So on the top at the left, it says 4-star hotel is a keyword. That has high volume and high popularity. Loads of people are searching for it a lot, but it's also low intent, which means, you know, people searching for it, like, we don't know what they're really looking for. It's very vague. As you come down the neck and the back and the tail of the Keywordosaurus, the traffic volume drops off and the popularity, but the intent really increases. So when you get right down the bottom, 4-star, family friendly, holidays near Chester Zoo, person putting that key phrase in, looking for something very specific, they're going to be booking something, I would expect. So, you know, that's an area that we want to be targeting because they're high intent. So we're going to look at a few ways to find key phrases. Google Trends. If you Google Google Trends, you get to this site and you can start playing around, putting in search terms that you think are relevant. We've done that, some of that for you, so we're going to share those now. It's great for just discovering sort of blog content and, you know, what's trending really. So it's got a few examples. We've gone back to 2019. It gives a really nice picture of the data. So for the search trend, hotel stays, you can see how it was, you know, increasing in 2019, fell off a cliff in COVID, went up again, fell down again, went up again even more. And it's kind of leveled off through the sort of second half of 2022 and a little uptick in 2024. I put in a couple of search phrases for this one. I put in hotel stays, which I just showed you, and I added weekend break in the greeny color. Again, so you can see the difference there. Weekend break was much higher in 2019. Now it's much closer, but still up over hotel stays in the current period. Here's another interesting one we've been tracking for a while: city breaks versus Cornwall hotel. City breaks always used to be bigger through COVID. Cornwall became the big thing. And then after COVID, there's much more parity, but now again, city breaks has gone back up and a little bit higher than Cornwall. It's a shame. Cornwall's lovely, but cities are too. Staycation, another super buzzword, real completely skewed out a bit by COVID, but you will notice that there's almost a new baseline being set now. 2019, it wasn't really much of a search term. And after COVID, you can see it's, you know, it's a bit higher now. So it's settled down. It's still certainly a search term. And the final one we're looking at here is EV charging. This is, I mean, every single time we do the data on it, it's just gone up and up and up. And a complete game changer for those that, or deal breaker, I guess, for those that have an electric car. You know, if you provide EV charging at your property, you've got to talk about it, because if you've got an EV car, you just need that. Similarly to if you're dog friendly, someone put in the chat, that's how they found their last break. They used the search term dog friendly. It's very similar to that. You know, if you've got a dog and an electric car, you know, you're really limiting down the places you can go to in the UK. So you really need to make sure you can find the ones that cater to both of those needs.
Great, thank you, Pete. So just a source really of finding some keywords and what might be trending and searching, people are searching for. So we're going to do a poll question. I'm going to just launch that one now. We'll just find out a little bit more from you in terms of where you're at in terms of your keywords. So I'm going to launch that. When was the last time that you looked for new keywords or to target or did any keyword research for your property or website? Was it in the last month? Did you do it in the last 3 months or the last quarter? Have you done it within the last year? So let's say this time, March last year. Have you never done keyword research before, or maybe you don't know how to do it? Or do you have, you might have someone else who does that for you, whether they're a freelancer or an agency that you have to do that. Just be interesting to see how many people are doing regular keyword research. So just keep popping those answers in. I can see about 50% of you have put that into the poll so far. So just wait for that to continue coming in. Great to see those numbers. It's always interesting to see as they come flying in, they sort of, one goes up higher and one goes down. So, and we'll share these back to you so you can see what other people similar position to you are doing. Okay, that looks like it's, I've got about most of you in there. So we'll just end that one very shortly, just so you can get an idea of what they're doing. Right, thank you very much. So I'm going to share the results with you so you can see that. So we've got 20% have done it within the last month, 18% within the last 3 months, 20% within the last year, 14% have never, and 20% don't know how to, which is, absolutely fine. You're on the on the call today. Hopefully take away some tips that you can write down. Same for those that have been doing it previously, some of the methods maybe of your research. You can bring some of these tips and elements into that. And then 18% at the very bottom, have someone else do it. So that might be great, take away the stress of it and the thought of it, leave it to someone else to do. So that's really good to see. Usually we would say you want to be doing something within, every 1 to 3 months. You really want to be researching because behaviors change, trends change, and things are constantly moving with Google. And we're going to just touch again on some ways how you can expand on your keyword research. So thank you very much for that. We're going to just jump into the next section now. So we've put together just a handful of tips, and there could be a lot more here in terms of how you might find the best keywords for your business. I'm just going to highlight 3 of these 7. So one of the most simple and straightforward ways in which you can do that research is just on Google itself. Google will provide you with some suggested searches. You just need to start pre-populating and filling in that information. And it's going to use its algorithm to show you the most searched terms that people have used with those starting words that you put in. So I'll show you an example of that in a moment. So a very simple way in which you could get ideas for blog posts or words that you can maybe put in that you've not even put in that might just be, really relevant. The third one, and we'll come on to point 2, which is using keyword research tools. I'll just show you an example of what that might look like. 3, the competitors, it's an old marketing method of actually just seeing what the people that you maybe admire or the people that you are competing against, what keywords are they using? Because if you're not doing your keyword research and they're going to be coming up a lot higher in the rankings, in the results, and people are going to click on them over you. So start to take a look at what they're using, and you might think, well, we do that too. Let me start to create some content and start to target a similar phrase so that we can at least compete against them in the results page. There's loads of industry reports using Google Trends, for example. And then this is a really fascinating one, which is using news, PR, and media. Things that people are talking about in the news, people talking about with their friends over the weekend. And that could be, news articles, things that locally are happening around you. It could be stuff that people are watching on TV, so popular film or TV series. I put an example on the right here of a hotel in Bath that has created a whole package out of Bridgerton. So people who watch Bridgerton and sort of just fascinated by the show can actually now go and have an experience what it might be like with Bridgerton, having an afternoon tea, Bridgerton style, exploring the Regency of Bath, having an overnight stay. Those terms are starting to be used, especially when they're popular. Another one could be, you know, the recent Wonka film that came out. You could do a gift voucher package on you know, a golden ticket, an experience where, you know, sweet treats are involved, or, you know, we were talking about afternoon teas are yummy. Include chocolate into it and make it themed around that is a good way of you know, making it diverse and interesting. And then finally, artificial intelligence, and we'll come on to a bit of AI and, you know, what Google says about that in a moment. So here's an example of a Google auto suggest. So if you are based in the Lake District, you might start to type in Lake District. Again, it will pre-populate some options for you, what people might be searching for. And so, you know, even if it's Lake District weather, you could create a page where you have a live feed of the weather and talking about best things to do at different times of the year, things to do indoors, things to do outdoors, things to do on rainy days. There's loads of different terms if people are searching for weather-related queries. This is a keyword research tool. Well, it's an agency sort of standard tool. You get different ones that you could use. You know, we invest a lot of money into using these because they give us a lot of clarity. This is just an example of how we've done some keyword research where it's pulled out the term, its intent that Pete was talking about earlier. We want high intent. So this is a commercial intent phrases, which means people are, you know, wanting to purchase. The average search volume of people who are searching that phrase every month. And then the keyword difficulty, how hard is it to rank for that term? So I always like to look at keywords like a piece of cake, and the more people that are trying to rank for it, i.e. big search volumes, the smaller the slice of cake you're going to get from it. Whereas if you go for the term at the very bottom, the keyword difficulty is a lot easier. The volume's lower, it's still good, but you're going to take a bigger slice of that cake if you can rank for that one. And you're going to get more people who are very specific about what they want. So there are free tools you can use, which will give you a little bit of information, but you will probably want to have and invest in a good tool, or use an agency that has access to a tool to get this level of clarity, which goes into much more detail as well.
Great, thanks, Mark. I expect he'll post maybe a free tool in the chat, I'm not sure, you can use for this kind of research. But once you've got your key phrases, keywords you want to target, then you need to create content that's going to go alongside that. Just putting up 3 types of content here. That's kind of cover most of the bases. So landing pages. So this is kind of content that is, for example, like what Mark's been talking about, offering or having a based on an offer or a break, like a spring afternoon tea, for example. Something that's quite you know, something that you want to sell in your business, that kind of targets your key phrases. So blogs are more for sort of topics that relate to your article and support your location or ethos or offerings. So might be talking about where to go walking locally to see all these lovely flowers that are going to be coming out at the moment, or you know, where to go while swimming, or how you procure your food locally and the suppliers you use. That's where you might want to use blogs. And finally, don't forget images as well. You can tag, you can name and put alt tags on images, and it's another part of the search engine. So people will be searching for phrases and using images to discover the content that they want. So that was all a bit theoretical. So let's look at some actual examples. And we'll start with how to avoid, or what to avoid first. And here's a hotel in York, Minster Hotel. I hope you're not on the call, but if you are, then here's some top tips for you. York Minster Hotel. So this break is called 3-Night Minster Explorer Break. I can pretty much guarantee that title is not a search term. No one is looking for a Minster Explorer break, but they will be looking for breaks in York, that's for sure. So they're kind of on the right lines, just need to change that. But then they've also just gone with the facts. There's not really any words that are particularly high intent search phrases. So this is the top of the page. If you scroll down, this is all the words that they have. I haven't cut anything out. literally promoting free parking. But with a little asterisk, that's only if it's available. And then there's a list of facilities, and guess what? That has described every hotel room in the UK. There's nothing in that list that I have not seen in every single property I've ever been to. It's completely generic. Nothing about it says why I should go and have the Minster Explorer. Actually, you know, I'd love to have a Minster Explorer. It's pretty beautiful, but I'm not booking it based on the free parking, or if it's got a hairdryer, obviously. Not relevant to me. And here's another example. So these guys have actually got a really good photo, but again, completely dived into the facts. Really, no benefits in there. And the words they use just aren't search phrases. Free parking, free Wi-Fi. Oh, like every hotel. Free use of leisure facilities. Cooked breakfast. Oh, no kidding. Got a hotel with cooked breakfast. I mean, everything is just really sort of thin. List of prices. So unengaging, this kind of content. So, you know, what should it look like? Show you a couple of examples of, you know, how we recommend putting packages and content together. One of our clients, Bowood in Wiltshire, offering a spring spa wellness experience. So you can see the top couple of paragraphs there, just, you know, full of key phrases, keywords, and also describe in a benefit-driven way how fantastic the stay is going to be. And then what's included? Well, guess what? They haven't put car parking and Wi-Fi. They've got loads of car parking and the Wi-Fi is great, but that's just like assumed knowledge, isn't it? Like having a bed. Of course, it's going to have all those things. But actually, what's the real benefits? They're listed. They've got like half a dozen really good things. I think, oh, yeah, I wouldn't mind one of those. Oh, and one of those. Oh, and it's got that as well. And they're all key phrased as well. So a nice little example there, and it hasn't gone on and on about the exclusions and the prices for this and that one, but not if you have this on a Friday. Very simple. That's a landing page, and here's a blog example. And it's just the top of it. It's a bit longer than what's shown on screen for another client of ours, Glasshouse in Essex. So this is a highly targeted, optimized blog that we wrote. So Glasshouse have 235 high intent keywords in their top 10 results on Google. That's a pretty good result from the SEO guys, and 70 of those are at position 1, which is, you know, the actual, you know, the golden standard you want to get to. And we track all that, and we know that it drives 242,000 visitors per month, people searching for those high intent key phrases, finding the client at the top of Google, clicking through, obviously all generating revenue as well.
Well, okay, thank you. So yeah, that Bowood example was targeting spring as a phrase. If you were looking for what that was going for, it is targeting the season. Now, artificial intelligence, probably a lot of people questioning, how does that play into Google? So Google has this sort of representative guy called John Mueller who shares a lot of insight. He's a Google webmaster. Provides lots of insight. And, you know, the question around artificial intelligence is that it's about creating quality content. So you can use artificial intelligence to do a lot of the groundwork, to give you ideas, to maybe get you started when maybe you have a bit of a mind block. But don't just copy and paste that content into your web page, because that's just not original content. Artificial intelligence is not there yet. And it's part of what Google would call as their spam policy. So you can use AI, but just make sure that once you get your ideas from it, tweak it, put it into your own words, make it unique, make it original. You can use elements of that and then use elements of your own original content. You just need to make sure that it's not copy and paste. Otherwise, you will be marked down by Google for using that. Another element that Google is really, you know, looking at in terms of how they want to rank content. So when you're creating it for your website, is actually making sure that your speed and user experience is really good. It forms a lot of the sort of recent updates that Google have been doing over the past 2 to 3 years, is actually how do people interact with a website or a web page, and is it quick? Is it delivering content quickly? Is it delivering the right information? And so making sure that your website passes what they call their Core Web Vitals assessment is hugely important. So we use a tool called PageSpeed Insights. Pete might try find a link just to share with you. You can go and test your web pages on there. Just want to stress, you can't test. So I've put website speed there. It should actually say web page speed. Google ranks web pages, not websites. So each individual page on your website will have a different page speed, and you need to make sure that you improve each individual speed relevant to the page, because you might have different images which are bigger, which need compressing. You might have video on some page and not others. So making sure that you improve it for each one is important. And then you'll find on that PageSpeed Insights test, which is a tool from Google, it'll tell you whether you pass the Core Web Vitals assessment there. Google have been using 3 areas of measuring page speed as part of the test, which is large contentful paint, LCP, first input delay, FID, cumulative layout shift. So they're just different measurements. They're changing one of those measurements next week from first input delay is now going to be not used as a measure. It's going to for Core Web Vitals, and they're going to replace it with interaction to next paint. So you can see in this example that interaction to next paint is on the line just between green and orange. So they pass the test currently, but they would need to just keep an eye on that. Then you would need to ask your developers to look into it, your web developers, your webmasters, whoever manages your website, into how they can manage and improve those speeds so that that's working correctly. Now, as Pete mentioned, straight out from Google yesterday, we heard about their core update. Google makes around 600 to 700 changes to their algorithm a year. It's probably, it's around 2 to 3 changes every day they're making. They're just small little tweaks that we don't know about. But then they do announce core updates. So they make at least 2 core updates per year. And those core updates just make a bit more of a change in their algorithm in terms of how they process web pages and how they determine whether they rank. The March core update is coming. It's going to be a more complex update than the normal one. It just means that you have to create really good quality content. So thinking about use of AI, actually make sure that you're writing original and useful content. There's more news about that you can find if you make a search on the March core update. The other element is spam policies are being updated too. So making sure that you're not trying to do what we call black hat practices and trying to stuff information in, trying to sort of make your website rank in a way that maybe isn't the normal way that they would suggest. So again, you can read about Google's spam policies just to understand that you're doing things right for that. So as Pete mentioned, some elements of Google are really technical, and so you might want to say, oh, I don't have an idea, and you might want to seek some advice on that. But it's something to keep aware of, that it is constantly changing and that you constantly need to be in the game, as it were, to benefit from Google.
That was a super technical section, but and have a little break for a poll. We come back to some more, but just to reiterate the importance of it, search results are what we call a zero-sum game. If you're, say, number 5 in the search results, and you're not paying attention to what's keeping your site up to date with all the right technical elements, and you go down, let's say to number 6, it means your competitors have to go above you. So that's why it's zero-sum. You go down, they have to go up. So that's why it's so important to keep on top of it at all times. Let me launch a poll. Which you can't even see. No, have you got a poll on your screen? I don't see it on this one.
I will get that up for you now.
Thank you, Mark. Save me. So the poll is about updating meta titles. How often do you update your meta titles and meta descriptions? And the options are monthly, 3 to 6 months, every 6 to 12 months. More often than, sorry, 12 months and more. Never. Somebody else does this. Phew. How often do you update your meta titles and meta descriptions? Maybe you don't even know what we're talking about. Could have been another option. But do you do it monthly, 3 to 6 months, 6 to 12 months, 12 months plus? Never. Somebody else does this. There's people voting on that. Give you a few more seconds to make your decision. I know you kind of just got to guess because you probably don't really write it down. Okay, I'll end that and share the results. Should be able to see that there. So the winner is never. That's disappointing, but hopefully we're going to show you how you can do that. Somebody else does that. It's probably quite a good idea to get this outsourced, or not very frequently if you're doing it 12 months or more. And only one property. Congratulations, doing it monthly. Great work, whoever that is. Moving back to Mark, who's going to talk more about this.
Great, thanks, Pete. So yeah, on those results, I would probably say you want to be changing your meta title and descriptions, or at least reviewing them every 3 to 6 months, just to make sure that they're relevant, they're ranking, they're improving. If you change the same meta title every month, well, you're not giving Google a chance to rank for it. So if you're changing different ones every month, then that's, rotating it. That's absolutely fine and good to be doing that. But don't change it one month and then the next month change the exact same page. Otherwise, you're not giving it a chance to rank into Google's index. Great. Okay, so this is just like a 101 for your results and how you are displaying in the results page. So we would call this the search engine results page. A lot of you will be familiar with it in terms of when you type in something at the very top, and then it gives you a listing of loads of stuff. So right at the very top, you'll usually find the paid adverts. So they will have a little black bold text saying sponsored. So that's when you do paid advertising or pay-per-click search through Google to make sure that your link is up there. So that's quite helpful. Sometimes if you're doing price-driven work or in the shoulder seasons, it's useful to get to the top. Otherwise, you will scroll down, you'll see this hotels environment where it just shows you some listings through the hotels part of Google. And then directly under that, you'll get your first organic listing. So for Castle Hotels in Scotland, this is the first organic listing that we find. So that's ranking position number 1. This is the meta title and description for those that perhaps weren't aware of what that is. So the link that takes you through to the web page is the meta title. And you can change all of this stuff from your website editor, your content management system, or you should be able to have control to change that. I'll show you where you can do that. And then you also have the meta description. So for that term, Castle Hotels in Scotland. So I searched, Castle Hotels in Scotland, yes. So Castle Hotels Scotland as a term in the meta titles pulled up. It's also pulled up, as you can see, it's boldened in the meta description for this one. And there are some rules for it. So you do want to try and keep to these characters. So your title should be no more than 60 characters. So 50 to 60 characters. If you go over a little bit, it's not the end of the world. It just means that it'll give you the ... at the end, so people won't see everything. And then the descriptions, about 150 to 160 characters. Again, if you go too long, it will show the dots. So you do want to try and make it appear well. Think about maybe how an email inbox might preview to you. You want it to show everything. Some examples of how you might list that out in terms of using piping to just make it look neat and to separate your keywords. So using different variations of your region, type of property you are, things to do, short breaks, those keywords that you can find from your keyword research that we mentioned earlier. So this is just an example of a content management system that we provide. And there is clearly a section there for SEO, for your search engine optimization, to add in your meta title and your description for each page. So whatever content management system you have, either if you have a plugin or some section, you should be able to change this stuff. And that gives you control of how it appears in Google search. So making sure that you update that, as I mentioned, every 3 to 6 months, or at least just reviewing it to see if you're improving in ranking and whether your keywords are still relevant based on behavioral changes too in the way people search. We're going to just post in the link. We just got a little hospitality SEO checklist. So it's just something you can use if you do need to start working through your Google search, trying to tidy some things up, to do some regular maintenance. This is just a handy thing that you can have where you can just start to measure and monitor what you're doing. So do go and download that one. It's free. Great. And so thinking about meta titles and descriptions again, we're going to just show some examples of what to avoid. So we don't want it to be broad and we don't want it to be vague. And these examples here are just quite general. Sure, they're picking up on hotels and they're picking up on the location of Yorkshire, but they're not really making the most use of the space that they've got. They could make a lot more use of it. So what good looks like, they could be targeting this. So the very top one very much is targeting a luxury market and a luxury key phrase, as well as being a hotel in Yorkshire. Then we've also got people targeting whether they're 5-star and York. So the second one is got York 3 times. And then the last one as well is, again, targeting the luxury and Yorkshire spa, hotel, castle. It's got all of it in there. So think about your use of that space and how you can really get the most out of it.
Okay, moving on to another topic. It's a big one, this SEO, your Google business profile. So what we talked about so far is optimizing your website, but there's also SEO you can do that's off your website, and a lot of that lives in your Google business profile. And we're going to start with a poll, which I've now found. So let me share the poll. Okay, Google business profile question. How often are you updating your Google business profile? Weekly, monthly, yearly, never? What's this? What do I do that? How often are you updating your Google business profile? No one's going for weekly at the moment, but monthly, yearly, never. What's this? You'll find out in a moment. How do I do that? I think you'll find out in a moment. Thank you very much. Okay, I'll end the poll and share the results. So no one does it weekly. Quite a few people go for monthly, nearly half do it every year. And some never do it. I don't know what it is. I don't know how to do it. Hopefully we can demystify some of that. So your Google business profile. So when someone searches on your brand name, such as the pig at Harlem Bay here, it's the information panel. It's called the knowledge panel on the right-hand side in Google. And it just helps people learn a bit more about your business. You can control most of the elements, not quite all. So you can't control photos or reviews, obviously. You put your own photos up, but other people can put their photos up too. Which is often quite annoying when they take photos of the toilet and just put that up. But that's what it is. And there's some very specific sustainability features we want to highlight. Sustainability, super important. We're on our journey to become B Corp at Clockwork. 70% of millennials are more likely to book from a brand with sustainable values. And there's sustainability features within the Google Business Profile listing. Some of it's kind of a bit tick boxy. You can go in and you can say the activities that you're undertaking. It's all quite straightforward. But a big sort of step is to have a certification. So I'm sure many properties are doing great activity around sustainability. You can go and tick lots of the boxes. But the next step is to get a certification, and then you can apply that to your profile. And I'm going to demonstrate the importance of that. So if you do a search for a property in a hotel in a location like we've done here, Torquay Hotels, you get to what's called the Google Hotel search feature. I don't think it is called that, but that's what I've called it. And if you click on the show all the results, you get loads of results. I did a search for the middle of March, over 1,000 results of hotels in Torquay that I can stay in. Like, I'm never going to pick out of those, so I can filter it down a little bit. There's various filtering tools there that I'm showing, and one of them is to filter on those that have an eco certification. So if I tick that box, my results go down to 1, which is a bit shocking, really, because I'm sure a lot of those properties are doing some great sustainable initiatives, but only 1 has got the right accreditation and knows how to upload it into Google profile so that they appear. So if I'm super conscious about where I stay, I have a choice of 1 at the moment, but not much competition there.
Great, cool. Thank you, Pete. So just closing up last little section just on how you can improve your local search. So making sure that you are found in maps. So a few of you put that in the intro in terms of how you search for stuff. You started off in maps, had an interesting conversation with Harry about a Google representative that was at Hospace, the event that Hospa run, who was talking that actually within hospitality, 30% of people who make searches for that stuff start in maps. So hugely important that you can be found on Google Maps as a feature. And again, people are very specific about where they want to go. It's just now the decision of who they go with. So people do a lot of near me searches as well, so serving your local customers too. So perhaps they might not be wanting to do a stay, but you might want to target perhaps events, or if you offer dining or other experiences, you can start to use Google Trends to maybe find out if those searches are trending or not. And then, here's just an example of using Google Hotels again. And I've targeted the Cotswolds just to show you on that right-hand side, wow, there's like loads of options to choose from. If you're not showing up or appearing here, then your competitors are. You're going to miss out on some potential bookings. And, meta search is a thing that we could talk about in this area, and meta search is a huge conversation, not for today, but if you got your feeds for your direct booking straight to your booking engine, they need to be shown in here so that you can take that direct revenue rather than through an OTA. So hugely important that you are found there. And to do that, make sure that you complete your business profile accurately. You include all the information about where you're based, you're located. You might even want to put it on your contact us page or our location or where we are. Even use things like what 3 words to put your what 3 words locations down. Anything where you can provide directions or instructions, traveling by car, traveling by train, public transport. Add that information in, because the more that you can talk about that, the better. And also in your blog post, if you're talking about local spots and local areas, use those words. Google will pick up that information and can then start to see the content you're creating is very much fixated about a local area. So important that you go and check your business Google business profile.
Thanks, Mark. It's coming to the end now, but hopefully you've learned a lot from today and have a big helpful list of things to do. But if you want to put in the chat, your top things that you've learned and you want to do, that would be really helpful to share with the community and us, so we can help understand what things are resonating with you. Which bits did you think were particularly useful? Well, you say which bits you weren't useful if you like, but look for positives, like reviewing meta titles and descriptions, and they're going to come in too fast to read. How important is it to update regularly? So that's a question. We'll come to questions in a moment. Change your meta titles, deep dive into our web page speed, eco credentials, great one, Mandy. Oh, and Bethany as well. Sorry, whizzing past me. Black hat, don't want to do that. Hopefully that's what you mean. be more proactive. Yeah, it's a never-ending, constantly moving thing. Yep, more trends and takeaways, not a question. Thank you, Richard. Okay, it's just a blizzard of great things there. I'm glad you'll be able to take something from it. You know, just to summarize the sort of the 5 key things we talked about, which is finding and targeting long tail key words, key phrases, creating relevant content to go with those key phrases, and then reviewing and optimizing your meta titles and descriptions, which many have said. Update and fully complete your Google business profile, which is kind of nearly what we ended on, and obviously using Google Maps and keeping that up to date as well. Well, just doing it once really doesn't need to change. So hopefully all those elements have been taken on board, and we're gonna quickly move into some Q&A. I haven't got watch on me. I hope you've got 5 minutes to answer any questions. I'm going to be completely slopey shouldered and let Mark do that because he's more of the expert.
Great, thank you, Pete. Yeah, if there's any questions though that you have later on, just you know, pop them through, get in touch. hello@clockwork, clock-work.co.uk, and we can answer those. I particularly liked Mandy's comment. She said that my predecessor says you always need to feed the monster that is Google, which is absolutely true. It's we refer to Google as the frenemy. They're your friend because they've got such a monopoly, that 94% of control over sort of the UK, but also, you know, after they make things very tricky sometimes, so you've got to change with it. Yes, Lucy, our presentation and all the webinars are recorded, so the Hotel Marketing Association will help with that. So that is good. Yeah, so Tammy says it's being found on Google Maps automatic if your profile is correct. It should be. Yeah, so once you get all your locations sorted on there, it should put your pin on there. So just make sure that's up to date. Do a search for yourself, you know, get a friend to search, say, how easy are we to find on maps? Always good to test that sort of stuff. Okay, and there you go. Yeah, Harry's also said that local ads. So using Google itself, you can do some advertising through that. And that will help with your listings to improve your visibility. Okay, great. I can't see any other questions that have come up. I know a lot of the content hopefully comes out quite overwhelming, so we'll just share that on there. How can you get fake locations on Google removed? Good question. So that can be quite tricky because sometimes there's a lot of third-party people trying to take control of that. Hopefully with Google's spam policies, Google's algorithm, it can look into that and find it. Sometimes it's a bit of a manual work, actually, Nigel, where you have to get in touch with various different listing sites and directories to then actually update that. You can use tools which can push your directory listing out to everywhere, so then it just has one true voice. You have to do that as a paid service, but absolutely worth it. Can you get photos of the wrong property removed from Google Business Profile? Good question, Gillian. So Google Photos, basically customers can upload photos themselves, but you can't delete their photos, unfortunately. The idea is that they're trying to get people to interact with your business and show what they have experienced. The other way that you can do that, perhaps it might be old photos. You can contest against it. So you can go into Google Business Profile and you can actually sort of mark them up as spam or incorrect, and then Google will review them for you. The other way that you get rid of those is actually just by uploading more of your content. The more content that you can put up, the more of your content it will actually display. So you can do it that way. And then helping with web page speed. Gordon, as part of your ongoing service, yeah, we always look at web page speed, improving that. You know, making sure your website's built in a good content management system and good technology will always give you the underpinning for that. But then making sure that you're doing the right things when you're uploading content, because you can very quickly weigh down your website with big images, big files. So delivering that in the best way is really important. Who determines against the pounds against your listing on Google. So you can actually put that in yourself. So that's within the Google listings. You hit the drop downs and you can go into some details, and you can start to list, you know, the value of your services and products. So you should be able to do that yourself. But if you have any questions against that, you can use Google Business Profile. They do have a chat review thing that you can get through. It's quite tricky, but if you can find that and get a hold of someone, there will usually be someone who can help and make that change, but you have to provide evidence onto why you need to change that. Mandy's asking about Super Control API, taking that to layer. It says that develops the page. Just warning, is there any Google content which I can point them towards to show that things are serious? Yes, Mandy, you can go to, there is a web.dev, I think it's called, is a Google thing about web performance. You can improve, get insights, and you can share that to them. So Mandy, if you just email hello@clock-work.co.uk, we can send you some resources on forwarding to your web developers, and they can take a look at that. Is there an ideal size for photos? Says Jane. Yes, as low as possible. The lowest you can. You want to avoid it being, you know, 4, 5 megabytes, 3, 4, 5 megabytes. You want to get it into kilobytes where you can, but make sure that you don't sacrifice quality. You want to make sure that it's still great quality photos and imagery. So you can do that by either changing the file type from a PNG to a JPEG. JPEGs are a lot better for sharing. And then even better than that, you can change them to what we call WebP, which is web version photos, which is a lot better. So WebP format photos will load quicker.
I'd also suggest putting that on the photographer as well. Please, asking the photographer to actually export them, give them the criteria, and ask the photographer to export, because to get the best results, sometimes it does require things like Photoshop to actually take the weight out of a photo while maintaining the quality. It's not always possible to use the sort of online compression tools. So I'd put it on the photographer.
Yeah, 100%, because they'll take it as a raw file, which might be 20 megabytes. So make sure they provide you with web versions too. Okay, I think we're probably up for time. Loads of questions. So I'll hand back over to Harry. But yeah, any other questions, do get in touch with us on that hello@clockwork. And I'm sure, you got some great events coming up still from the HMA.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. That was incredibly insightful. Already some great comments and thank yous coming in from the chat. So thank you so much, Mark and Pete. And thank you for the whole series as well, because it's covered lots of the different elements of how to succeed in digital for hotels. And yeah, it's been great to collaborate over the last few months with the HMA and Clockwork Marketing on this piece. Just as a final little reminder of the events that we have coming up, the 19th of March in London, Hart Shoreditch, an incredible session lined up on video and how to excel in video. We've got some amazing speakers there, so do check out that one. And then more of a holistic, data session from Amadeus in collaboration with the HMA on travel trends throughout 2024, tapping into the big network of data that Amadeus have available to them across bookings, web, GDS, etc. That's sure to be very, very insightful in guiding your strategy in terms of how you shape your marketing plans for this year and next year. So do check those out. Thank you once again to Clockwork Marketing and Pete and Mark for your continued support and your amazing insight. And we'll see you on the next one. Cheers, guys.
Great. Thank you.
Bye.